Hey, Tile friends. Welcome back to another episode of Tile Money. Today I'm excited to be interviewing not the owner of the business, but somebody very important to a business. His name is Michael Mylonas, and he works for J&R Tile out of San Antonio, Texas. And um, his role there, what do you call it? His title is Sales and Business Development Director. So how are you doing, Michael? Would you take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sir. How you doing? We're freezing on my end.
Okay, I think you're back.
All right. Well, I'm Michael Mylonas with J&R Tile. We are a five-star contractor out of San Antonio, Texas, and we're working really hard to help change the industry and make sure that good qualified labor win jobs, because there's a huge issue with low bids getting accepted and hacks going in there, or people not knowing what they're doing and giving us a bad name.
Excellent. How long have you been with J&R?
I've been with J&R. This is my second time around. The first time I was an apprentice for Trinity Viegel, who actually won a Rockstar Award at Coverings this year. And this time, I think I'm at a year and a half.
Okay.
So
Excellent. Yeah. Before we get too much further, I wanted to ask you: do you have any hobbies?
yes, I love to be outside and where there's no cell phone service. I love to hunt and fish, wade fish specifically, artificial. Nothing better making a piece of plastic look delicious.
All right.
A lot of hunting and camping, so anything that has to do outside.
Right on. My kind of man.
I like it.
So one of the things I want to talk to you about, and this is on a lot of guys' minds when I talk to them, they're having a lot of trouble, finding staff, the quality of staff that they want to keep, and keeping quality staff when they do find them. Can you, kind of help us, out a little bit? What does J&R do to keep and find staff?
Well, we recruit very hard. We don't turn away any applications. We accept all interviews, even if we are currently not hiring. We bring everybody in to make sure we got a good backlog. We are part of the Department of Labor apprenticeship program. So maybe kids right out of high school that don't have any direction, they get with the Department of Labor, they send them to us. We put them in an apprenticeship program, teach them and work their way up to become a certified tile installer. Other things we do is through our guys is communication through their families and their friends. They recruit who they believe will be a good fit.
Okay. That's awesome. So you're basically, so is that apprenticeship program through the state or is that a government?
It's a government. Yes, sir. It's through the Department of Labor. Yes, sir. And I don't have all the information in front of me right now because it's a lot, but you start off as a pre-apprentice, which here it's paid for at a state level. And then once they're here for 6 months, then they are, I forget what the next level is, an apprentice. And that's when they come on board with us. The Department of Labor issues them some boots, gloves, and PPE. And then and another good reason for the Department of Labor apprenticeship program is our guys can't come and ask us for a raise.
Okay.
All the checks and balances are right in front of you. So if they want a raise, we just go back and see their time in the field, what their foremen say, and then also there's an X amount of CEUs that you have to do on the internet. So until all of those are met, they know not to come and talk to us.
Awesome.
So
well, that's a great tool, and that's something I've never heard of. So I'm gonna Google it and research it and get some links, and I'm gonna get that out to the listeners. So if you want a link to that, hit me up later, and I'll have that link for you.
Yes, sir. And I'll do what I can on our end because I know we've done a lot of the legwork, at least for Texas, that we'll give you whatever we can to help out with that also.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Milo.
Yes, sir.
Now,
another thing to the Department of Labor is we also work with the Veterans Affairs.
Okay.
So, and that actually helps us because if we are employing 10% military, we get identifiers. That will help you bid maybe federal jobs, military jobs, things like that. So that's another avenue of bringing in help and training them.
Okay. Those are two powerful points there.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. I know my listeners too. And then another point I liked was, ask your current staff that's already working out for you if they have anybody they would want to work with,
Absolutely. I mean, it's just like how we get work is by referrals. So that's also how you get good help is through referrals.
And then that kind of leads me into another point is culture. That probably helps to build the culture. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yes, sir. So everybody has a job description. If you're a pre-apprentice, a journeyman, or a warehouseman, or estimator, myself, everybody has a job description. So that's your checks and balances. If there's an issue out in the field, we let the foreman handle it. If it needs to come to us, then we sit them down in the back behind closed doors with the witness, and we find out what's going on, come up with corrective actions. And the first time is just going to be a verbal conversation that is documented in writing. The second time, there will be further corrective actions, possibly even suspended from work for a couple days, whatever fits the crime.
Yeah.
Much going home after that. But when you get a chance, it doesn't matter. All we ask is that you show up to work on time and have your PPE on and always be working. Like we believe in, if you're standing around, you better have a broom in your hand about to sweep up some dirt, because the job site can always be clean.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So how do your job sites, just paint a picture for me. If you have a job site, what does it look like as far as the roles? You have your apprenticeship, you have your journeyman, and then so on and so forth. Like, let's say you had 1,000 square feet of floor tile to install. About, on an average job like that, how many guys would be on there? What would be their roles and titles?
Well, you will always have a foreman setter and an apprentice. Every foreman has an apprentice. I know that some of the other companies around here, one apprentice per 3 setters. So these guys are getting it, but they're just throwing square footage.
Wow.
They're not really doing things to industry standards. We don't really operate on square footage. Yeah, we get it for checks and balances, but ultimately, based upon the schedule we're given, and if they're accelerating us, things like that. 1,000 square feet, though, we'd probably send 2 crews there, which would be 2 guys. Again, it just depends on the schedule.
So two leaders, 2 journeymen, and 2 apprentices for 1,000 feet.
Oh, no, sir. Just 4 people total, a setter and an apprentice.
Okay. Got it. Can you tell me a little bit about the leadership in J&R? Because I'm looking on the website and there's plenty of leadership there. So I want to, kind of expound on that, and how important is that to a company?
Well, working with Aaron, I've been able to talk to very successful leaders in the industry and in the nation, period. And one thing that's said over and over again is no direct report can have more than 5 people answer to them. So that's one thing that we do. So the higher you go up the chain, the less people actually direct report to somebody else. Like myself, only the foreman or the CTIs would be communicating with me.
Okay.
Below them, like the apprentices, journeymen, things of that nature, they report directly to the foreman or the CTIs on site. So it's all about chain of command.
That makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, from what I'm hearing, you have a lot of systems and checks and balances in place. That way, there's never any question of who does what or what role or who should I talk to. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct. It's all about policies and procedures.
Nice. That makes for a streamlined company, probably.
Yes, sir.
All right. What advice would you have to some of the smaller contractors who are down, maybe they have 4 men and 1 owner, something like that? How can they start kind of implementing some of this mindset because they might not have the money coming in to hire someone like yourself. So what can they start to think like, and what can they start to do for a smaller company like that?
The first step is come up with job descriptions.
Okay.
That's first and foremost. After that, your policies and procedures and holding people accountable. It's for the owner or the head person in charge. They are going to have a lot of work in the beginning, but once you get your first two top guys speaking your language, it'll roll downhill, and even it'll get to the point that your pre-apprentices are holding the new guys to a higher level. So really that's what it is communicate in the beginning and hold them accountable.
Okay.
And if that means, you have to let somebody go, it's okay. You've done everything by whatever you decide. Our 3 write-ups is our level. Whatever you decide that level is, enough is enough. They're not making you any money. They're wasting your time. It's hurting everybody. So sometimes you're better off without, is what I'm saying.
True. That's a great point. You got to know when to let go.
Absolutely.
What about a little bit larger company? Say a company has like 6 employees, 7 employees, and they're thinking, I could really use a lead man, kind of someone below the owner. What could they do to attract someone like you that's going to be on it for them and work hard for them? Someone that they now don't have to leave the office. They have a business director like yourself. What kind of things attracted you to J&R? What kind of things could I do in my company to attract someone like you?
So the bottom line reason I came back to J&R Tiles, I've known them for a long time, but I saw where they were 2 years ago, and I see where they are at today, and where they're at today is cutting edge. I mean, we're the type of material we're using, from custom mosaics to large thin panel, like we're separating ourselves from everybody else. That's what brought me back. I want to be part of that cutting edge. I want to be, and with that, I also see the problem with qualified labor. And I want to be a part of something that changes this industry. And all of you great people out there working together can make that happen. And I'm seeing it. I've seen it over the last 2 years. So I'm pumped.
It sounds like you're pumped and you're positive, and you have a positive attitude, and you appreciate going to work. It sounds like, from what I'm hearing.
I do. It's hard work, and Aaron and I sometimes work 15 plus hours a day. But until we get more people thinking alike, that can kind of take a little bit of the weight, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. I mean, to go into an architectural firm for the largest people in the state of Texas and you blow their mind, and your little old Milo from J&R Tile is amazing. It just feels so good. And it just reinforces what you do know. So when you're fighting those GCs out in the field, you're not going to get bullied that day.
Yeah.
And it feels really, really good.
Yeah. And you were making some interesting points in the Facebook group, Tile Money, about, fighting back and standing up to the general contractors and keeping your standards high. And I know we were talking about it just before we started recording. Can you start to expound on that a little bit?
Well, as I said, I probably wouldn't remember, but it's just educating. It's all about education. A lot of the people out in the field are still old school, and there's a lot of good things about old school. I'm not bashing that, but technology's come a long way to make things more efficient, ways to save money to the owners, and you have to be educated with that. And you
were talking about your relationships with the architects and how you're actually educating the relationship so that they're now. So, and then the 5-star contractor, and I think that was all working up to.
Yes, sir. So being a member of the NTCA allowed us to become a 5-star contractor. And because we're a 5-star contractor, we're allowed to give 11 CEUs to architects, designers, anybody that needs them. Well, what that's allowed us to do is to go around the general contractors directly to the architects and the owners and educate them. So, on a lot of our commercial jobs, the architects are in the field about every 2 to 4 weeks checking on the job. So if we're educating them to the industry standards through the TCNA and the ANSI book, when they walk on a job site and they see guys not doing directional troweling, something as simple as directional troweling, they know they're not getting what they're paid for.
Wow.
What we're also doing is we're educating them to spec certified labor and 5-star contractors, CTIs and ACTs. So if you have those identifiers, you automatically get to bid on a job where all these other people cannot. So that's why, get as much education as you can and make these relationships, and don't get bullied.
Sure.
And read your contracts. And if you don't have a contract, that's shame on you, number one. Everything should be in writing. Everything should be documented. Even if you're old school and pick up the phone mentality, that's fine. Follow up with an email. We use a great system called eSub. It's a construction program where our guys, part of their job description every day is to take 3 photos, be it if it's when you get there, lunchtime, and afterwards. That's because if you can't even take 3 photos a day, how can we trust you?
Yeah.
So luckily, all of them take about 15 to 20 a day, which is great because that's our insurance. We show up to a job, it's too dirty, boom, we document it. I send off a delay and a disruption, it's documented. It also has a disclaimer that we have the right to back charge, and they have to sign it, or we just leave the job site for that day. So
interesting.
Absolutely.
That's so that there's a reason everybody has one in their pocket, right? Might as well start using it.
Hey, I see him on the phone every time I walk to the job site. It better be for taking pictures.
For sure. Right on. Well, that was powerful stuff. Let's move on to sales. If you could help us out with sales. A lot of guys are struggling, selling themselves and selling their worth. A lot of the guys are reaching out and looking for the commercial work, but I also have some residential work as well. So if you could kind of touch on how do you get a chance to do much sales?
Yes, sir, I do. I wear many, many hats around here, and it's going to go back to what I was saying this whole time. Education. You were learning and educating yourself what the standards are in the tile world. When you walk in front of somebody and you're confident in what you're saying, they're going to buy it. Because one, they can go and get another bid. And I always tell them, make sure to ask them this, this, and this. And I promise you those answers won't be what I told you. And I know my answers are correct. And if I don't know an answer, I'm not going to make something up. I'm going to get back to you on that. So,
okay.
Just communication. I guess another thing that's made it easy for me is we have great partnerships and relationships with some of our vendors. One of my biggest resources is Ardex. And our rep, Frank Galvan, shout out. He comes from the tile world, so he's not just a seller. He gets it. He's been in the hands-on, so he goes to these job sites with me, and he, I pretty much do the introduction. I give my piece, and then I let him take over. So he makes my job easy, and then when I walk away, I know after that what to say the next time.
Okay.
I'm probably going to have him the next time.
Yeah.
So, and that goes along with a lot of our vendors. I mean, this year, Ardex, Doral, Tileport, Phil McKay, all these guys, we pick up the phone, they're there for us every time. So that's really, really important. Now, that doesn't mean going into your big box store down the road, talking to the people behind the counter and giving them what they tell you, because all they're doing is selling you products they have there. You want to know why you're using those products there. So
right.
We're going straight to the manufacturers.
Awesome. So did I hear you say, did I hear that right? You have gotten like the Ardex rep, for example, to come to the job before it's even yours in the sales presentation?
Absolutely. Not only that, like we're really big in the pre-construction. So if they have all these tiles or cementitious pavers or anything like that, and it's a very weird application. We take some of those samples, we give them to Ardex, and they write us a technical report on it. And if we feel that it's good, we're like, hey, this is great. And if we feel that it's bad, we also tell them that, and we find another direction to go for them.
Okay.
So pre-construction with your partnerships is huge, to the point that Ardex even does CEUs with us. Like he's there all the time. Very important to build those relationships. It's not just about, hey, can you get me a cheaper bag of thin set? It's not about that. It's about why this bag of thin set costs what it does compared to another bag of thin set. Because it's all the stuff on the back that people don't read.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I want to quote Erin here. She said that you excel at sales, and that you promote the staff. Now, I thought this was such an interesting point that she made, because it really conveys to whoever you're selling to that, you're promoting your staff, you're excited about the guys. And how does this help you?
Well, we have 7 CTIs that work for us. I mean,
how many?
That 7.
Okay.
And we've had more that have come through, and if they decided to go somewhere else, we're not mad about that. We're like, congratulations, like we've put you at a place where you can go out on your own.
Okay.
But I guess really what it is for me is our pre-apprentice speak the same language as our CTI. Now, they might not know as much as them, but they get the basics. And it's all because we make our leadership at whatever level you're at be training the guy underneath you. It's everybody's goal to take your boss's job here.
That's awesome. How much time is it? Weekly training or weekly safety meetings, training meetings? Can you expound on that a little bit?
So something that I've taken from other companies is anytime that I'm around 3 of my guys, I call it safety 3, I have a quick safety briefing, just real quick, just a reminder. Because if your guys get hurt, they're not working, so they're not feeding their family. You're going to have to change your schedule. Your setters are going to have to work harder. So PPE and safety is very, very important. So I definitely do that when I'm around 3 of my guys.
Okay.
Weekly safety meetings, and that's for OSHA reasons and insurance reasons, and we make sure that's documented. And if someone's not there, we document that, because if that guy that's there gets hurt and he goes to get workman's comp, and we always are going to take care of people, but if there's some sort of lawsuit, well, he wasn't here that day, you have your documentation. Again, document everything. And then, we have to do, and then on commercial jobs, they also have weekly meetings also. So, my guys can have anywhere from 2 to 5 safety meetings a week.
Wow.
Where they're at and where they're going. But they're real simple, to the point. Majority of the time, it's just remember to wear your glasses, safe your high vis if you're outside or on a commercial construction site. Something that I see on a lot of these forums and YouTube with some of these great tile installers wearing flip-flops. Recommendation for me, this is my personal opinion, don't do that.
Don't wear flip-flops.
What if you dropped a piece of tile? What if you got a piece of lose a toe? So just my 2 cents.
For sure.
So safety's first.
You know what? My big toe on my left foot is damaged still from 4 years ago. I dropped a box of tile on my foot, and I was wearing tennis shoes. I wasn't wearing flip-flops, but even tennis shoes wasn't enough to stop the 20 pounds of tile.
People don't think about that. But our guys, it's part of their uniform to have steel-toe boots.
Okay.
Part of it. And if you don't want to wear them, well, then you don't want to work here. So simple.
Okay. So there's things in your company that are non-negotiables.
Absolutely.
And the short and frequent safety meetings, I'm willing to bet, impact the guys and stick with them more than a once a month, hour-long, boring safety meeting.
That is correct.
Awesome. Oh, you're freezing up.
Safety.
Say that again.
I said, what is it? Oh, they probably already checked out after about 20 minutes into that meeting. Yeah. So just, you really don't want to go over 10 minutes. Something real quick, fast. I believe you can go to the OSHA website and they have job specific for the tile industry tailgate meetings that you
Yeah.
can run through, have them sign it, and then put it in the folder for that year. So if you get audited, it's right there.
Excellent. Excellent. Do you have, consequences for guys that don't wear safety, like repeat offenders, if you catch them without goggles or whatever?
Yes, sir. So the first time I'll walk up to them, if they're at the wet saw and I walk up and I see them, I'll give them mine because I always have an extra pair with me. So I'll give them mine. Or if it's the superintendent on the job that's calling me, hey, they're out of PPE, you get taken to the back, sat down, counseled. Just like I said before, first time is just a verbal. Second time is a write-up. Maybe you have to stay home. Third time, you don't work here anymore. And that doesn't matter if you're the best or the worst. Like, it is what it is. And that's why we do it 3. It's across the board. We don't treat anybody different.
Excellent.
That's why it's a culture.
Excellent.
Everybody gets treated the same. Everybody knows the expectations. And I'm not saying that we're the diamond. We're learning every day. We still have to train. Aaron and I spend a lot of time with the guys on corrective training. That's just part of it, but if they stick around, they'll hear it long enough that they'll speak our language and they'll hold the next guy accountable.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. You've said that a couple times, speak the same language. And I love that. I'm going to start using that and start implementing that in my company. I've had the struggle, the biggest struggle with getting guys to wear goggles, dust respirators, and even ear equipment. And I'm just like, I shouldn't have to struggle this hard for your own protection, but.
For sure. But just, write them up, and it's not personal. You care about them. That's the bottom line. If a guy loses an eye on your job, you're going to feel bad about that.
Yeah.
What do you say if you don't write them up or if you haven't retrained them? Oh, my bad. No. It's not your responsibility to hold their hand. It's their responsibility to follow the rules. So.
Okay. I want to start wrapping up here. I just wanted to ask a couple more quick questions on the staff. How many staff do you have, installers and apprentices?
Right now we have 18 total.
Okay.
About 3 months ago, we were doing a couple of huge projects. So we brought some more Department of Labor guys in to help out. And we had a couple more setters CTIs that were here, but they've, again, grown and gone their own way. And we had about 30 at that time.
Okay.
And that's rocking and rolling right there.
Wow. Yeah, those are the long days, I bet.
Like when we're running that many guys, we're probably putting in 18-hour days or doing some work. We don't play. We get it done.
Wow. What do you think the retention rate is? How long do you guys stick around at JNR?
Since I've been back, I think the shortest time frame was 6 months. Other than that, I know we have guys that have been here 10 plus years. We have guys that have been here that are Department of Labor guys. They've been here about 18 months. So they stick around pretty good.
Okay. And I wanted to highlight that because a common misconception is if I put all these rules into place and I keep on my guys and I have safety meetings, that they're not going to want to work with me or us. But I think that's a common misconception that the leaders need to, retrain their own thinking.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Everybody's replaceable. I'm replaceable. And Aaron and the rest of the team will do what it takes to replace me. Our estimator is replaceable. We don't want to replace anybody, but there's somebody hungry out there and somebody that's going to want it. And that's why it's my goal, JNR Tile's goal, and a lot of other people's goal is to really start these apprenticeship programs or like CTEP Texas, where we start schools and we are sending people to come sit down 2 years or something like that. On stands in the class, you're getting paid, learning the trade correctly, and then bringing them over. That's what we're working on with Veterans Affairs right now, is veterans can actually come and get paid by us. They can also use their GI Bill rather than going to college, just the same for this.
Okay.
As college, but learning a trade.
Interesting.
For sure. We're going to try to snatch them up wherever we can and educate them.
That's powerful. Well, it definitely shows. I mean, you know, I look to JNR. I've been watching JNR, you know, and Erin, what she's doing, and I've been looking up to the company. And I know a lot of guys and ladies who are owners of companies around the nation feel the same way. So it's a start, and I'm excited for the tile trade, and I know you are too. It shows in your voice and your face. So I want to thank you, Milo, for taking the time. I want to thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir. Just one more thing. So I pulled something from a CEU. Right now in the nation, there's only 40 5-star contractors, and it's supposed to double in the next couple years. So they're pulling these statistics from somewhere, and why I'm saying this is be a part of that increase. It's going to open the doors for you. Again, we're working our tail off to make sure that certified labor, certified installers, and 5-star contractors are spec'd directly. That means that whoever has to call you if you have those. So become one. Even if you're just a small residential, become one.
Wow. That's a powerful tip, and it's something that I'm going to take to heart myself.
Yes, sir.
You've opened my eyes quite a bit here with this short discussion. Thank you.
No problem. And I don't have all the answers,
Sure.
but you can reach us through our website, or you can reach us direct, and we'll do our best to give the information we already have to save a lot of legwork
Okay.
for everybody out there. Because the more people we can get on board faster, the easier it's going to be for all of us to start making real money on quality work.
Exactly. And that's what this movement, that's what this podcast is all about.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate your train of thought and Erin's leadership there. And I'm going to definitely be hitting you or her or everybody over there up for those links and for the information that I can share with my audience. And together we're gonna do our best to continue, like you said, raising up and demanding more money for the skill that we're putting out every day.
Absolutely. And I thank you so much for this podcast, because this is growing, and it is a more tech savvy world now. So we're heading in the right direction. Everybody that's listening, I promise you, we're heading in the right direction. Don't give up. It's going to get slow sometimes. Don't give up.
That's excellent advice. Well, thank you, Milo. I know you probably got some more hours in your day there.
Yes, sir.
Well, I really appreciate it. I know you've touched people's lives and actually made a difference in the tile world. And I know this is something that's going to live on the internet and on the podcast. So we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.